I've made a really interesting discovery on this hole that I cored about 30 inches from where the previous foundation contractor put their cement-based slurry. What I found is something I've been suspecting all along, is that the slurry, whatever kind you're using, whether it's the limestone slurry I'm using or a cement-based slurry, you have a chance that the slurry is not going to travel very far from the hole. Now, a couple things are impeding that, and that is the flow of the material and the space which it has to travel in that void under the slab. Now, here's something interesting I've noticed. There's a vapor barrier under this slab. They put a black plastic vapor barrier down, and these are the remnants of it. After I core the hole, I go through the bottom vapor barrier. So I got really excited when I cored through the concrete section of this hole, because I got into their cement-based slurry mix. And I thought, good, it made good communication. But oh no. Normally, the vapor barrier is underneath the concrete. And I expected this would be under that barrier. But instead, this plug of their cement slurry was on top of the barrier, which tells me that it traveled under the slab, but on top of this vapor barrier as it went over here about 30 inches. And that's about 1.5 inches thick. So that did not fill the cavity under here. And that tells me a couple things, that this slurry just doesn't travel far, whether you're pumping it under pressure like they did, or what I've witnessed with my gravity method. So these holes need to be 24, 30 inches apart. Now the interesting thing is that this proves to me without a doubt that a cement-based slurry is not as good as a limestone slurry that doesn't harden and cure. Because what has happened in this hole, this filled it originally, but it's obvious to me that the gravel below is below this. So the soil and the earth underneath can continue to sink. And if you've got a solid plug in here stuck to the bottom of your slab, and the soil beneath it continues to sink, or the gravel in this case, then you've got another void under the previously filled hardened void. Now, if this was my limestone sand, the ag lime, it would have sunk with the earth, and you can go back in the hole and fill it again. So it's more flexible. It kind of settles with the earth. It still forms a solid base for the slab to rest on, but it doesn't harden and cure. So going to be interesting how much slurry this hole takes, where they theoretically filled it. And something I want to show you is the evidence of this with my GoPro. I'm going to go down in this hole. Another reason I like the 2.5-inch hole, I can really see what's going on down here. So I'm going to stick that light bulb down there, and then I'm going to run this GoPro in so you can see where this is debonding and where the vapor barrier is. Okay, now what you should be seeing in here, as I lower this camera down in the hole, you should be seeing a clear line that shows the bottom of the concrete. Should be right in there somewhere. Right in there. There is a line that clearly shows you've got the aggregate in the concrete above, and then there's not really any aggregate, it's more of a sand-based product in the cement slurry that they use, and then there is the vapor barrier on the bottom. And you can clearly see that the cement slurry they pumped in there under pressure did not travel below into the gravel. It only went above the vapor barrier, not down into the gravel, and we still have this debonding of the earth under the slab, creating a void underneath that vapor barrier. And if we look back towards where they pumped it, about 30 inches away, we can't see any evidence of their slurry making it through the gravel. It should have traveled on top of that gravel and made it back this way towards this hole, but it didn't. Instead, it went right there on top of the vapor barrier. So that's not good. But more importantly, that just tells me that a limestone slurry is a better solution, because if this ground, or when the ground settles more, ground always moves, when it settles more, it will be able to settle with it, and you can come back in these holes and put more in versus just a hard plug in there of the cement slurry. So that is why I'm a fan of the limestone slurry.